And I strongly recommend for those who have some adventure in their heart, who are maybe disgusted with what you see in your own country, or maybe just, disappointed in the job outlook, yeah, go abroad. I watch in horror these days as my country has degenerated into something I don't recognize or don't want to recognize. I could talk for hours on this topic. A lot going on, including a horrible jobs report the other day. But I want to focus today on immigration and really talk about my memories of teaching immigrant populations in San Francisco. Hi, my name is Jesse. Welcome to my channel. Yeah, the images of people being plucked off the street, of ICE agents running down people in fields and farms, of just marauding bands of masked quasi-soldiers terrorizing our streets. Yeah, it really brought me back to when I was teaching at San Francisco State University. Correction, not teaching at San Francisco State, but getting my master's degree at San Francisco State. This was from 2007 to 2009, and doing my student teaching at City College of San Francisco. I did my practicum, my student teaching final, in a course that was called non-credit ESL. It was basically for immigrants. It was not going towards a degree or certificate, but it was a free course to anybody. You just, register. Some people didn't register. You just sign up and you show up, and I teach you English, and we have a good time. And these were the most wonderful people. These were not college students. These were not student aged. These were people out in the workforce who had recently come to the country, wanted to improve their English, had all the motivation in the world. These people would come when they could. Some people came every class. I taught 5 days a week. And some people would come for a while, show up. Maybe they'd disappear. Maybe they'd come once or twice a week, because they're fitting it into their work life, into their real life. I taught at the Eddy Street campus, this old building with heavy wooden desks and blackboards and very little technology. And it was perfect because, as my mentor teacher Terry taught me, always put a piece of paper in their hands. As I said, we had people coming in and out, and it was important to get a worksheet in their hands to get them up to speed, to know what we were talking about that day, and also for them to be able to take home and study at their own time. And I remember this one time I was a little rushed. I hadn't eaten and was getting ready for class, and I popped into the Burger King right down the street, and past the counter and past the window, I heard Mr. Jesse. And the cook there was one of my students, this guy named Carlos. And he said, "I don't know if I can be there today, I'll try." Because he was working. And that, those were my students. I had, cooks, domestic helpers, people who worked in, nursing homes and other, just, whatever the jobs that they could get as new immigrants with limited English. And our classroom was like a mini United Nations, people from Vietnam, from Central Asia, a lot from Central America, some from Mexico and some from South America. And what I noticed was, in addition to some of the students, fitting in these classes when they could, when they weren't working. There were also some students that they would come for a while and then just disappear. And I remember this one group, it was like 3 or 4 adult women. And I asked one of them, I noticed that Rosa isn't showing up. Do you guys know where she is? And they told me that she had to go back home to Guatemala to take care of her father, who had gotten sick. Coming to a bridge. I'm going to continue after I pass under the bridge. And looking back, with the lens of what's happening today, I remembered that, all during the time I was growing up and as an adult in California, while the border wasn't technically open in a lot of ways, it was open. And it was easy to cross the border. And, it was very human. People would often come to California to work, but they didn't necessarily plan to stay in the United States. Or if there was a family emergency like this, they would be able to go back home, do what they needed to do, and maybe come back, when it was a good time for them. And that humanity has been stripped away in a really ugly fashion. And getting back to my original thesis, I don't recognize my country anymore. It's really sad, really anger making, and At the same time, when thinking about this period in my life, I was going back to school to get my master's degree during the great financial crisis. Like I said, I was in school from 2007 to 2009, and then afterwards looking for a job. Wow. But I was fortunate. Knowing my interest in China, one of my professors had approached me about starting a new school affiliated with San Francisco State in Beijing. And, I was very excited about this prospect. Long story short, that school fell through between, I don't know if it was 100% the economy, it was also the situation with the school, but that fell through. And then I was thinking, what was I going to do? And I decided, check out the Peace Corps. And the Peace Corps had openings for people to teach English. I checked off Central Asia and rural China, and went to some informational meetings, applied, got my letters of recommendation from professors and colleagues that I've had in the past, and I was thinking about taking that route, do a Peace Corps stint for a couple of years. But at that point, I hadn't sorted my finances. I had lots of student debt from going back to school here, and ultimately I decided against that. Ended up heading back to China for a not a lucrative but a paying gig, as opposed to the Peace Corps, where I think they would have given me a stipend of $5,000 after the 2-year commitment was completed. Anyway, water under the bridge. But walking down this memory road, I was also thinking about why I wanted to go abroad in the first place. And it took me back to the first time I taught in China. This was in the year 2003. And thinking back, I remember that one of the catapults that sent me abroad was this feeling that America was a finished country. And not finished in the way that I think maybe it is now, but a settled country. In America, everything Everything worked. And there was a homogenization. You know, we all know this. You see the same restaurant chains wherever you go. You know that the electricity will work when you flip on the switch. Some construction, hold on. Not construction, just a lawn guy. Be back in a moment. I guess it was more a feeling that America was completed, not finished. I wanted to go abroad not because I was escaping a dead country, but because I wanted to go where there were new developments, where there were things happening. And China, believe me, in the years of the early 2000s, things were happening rapidly. But these days, I see so many people fleeing the country not because they want to experience something new, but because they don't believe in the country that now exists. And that is really sad. People feel now in America, and with good reason, that they can't make it anymore. And that maybe the moral center, the perceived moral center that we once had, is crumbling. Am I overstating the situation? I guess it really depends on who you're talking to. For most of my friends and family who have good jobs, who have good savings, you know, that's not the case. They can live their life in America. They can love their life in America. Everything is good. But is it? You know, there are so many populations now, and particularly immigrant populations, particularly people who are just finding it difficult to get their first job, to make a career, especially in this new era of AI. Like I said, the jobs report was anemic, has been for the last couple of months. Inflation is persistent, and for many, it is really hurting. And I say to you guys, yeah, try somewhere else. Try somewhere else where the cost of living is less, the life is better. And I can attest that in Asia, in many respects, the life is better. But it's a personal choice. It's a personal thing. I don't know. I just think that the days of coming to America for a better opportunity, it's still there. It's still there for many, but it's not easy. And with the American government hunting down immigrants, it's certainly not welcome. It's not a welcoming place like it was, to bring it full circle back, even 15 years ago when I was teaching immigrant non-credit ESL. I'm going to wrap up this video now, but I just want to say that if you're thinking about going abroad, I can personally attest that it's a life-changing experience. And if you don't have tech skills that you can make money remotely, I strongly encourage you to go into teaching. When I went into teaching abroad in China for the first time, I had absolutely no clue, no experience. It took time, but I had a wonderful, wonderful time. And I strongly recommend for those who have some adventure in their heart, who are maybe disgusted with what you see in your own country, or maybe just, disappointed in the job outlook, yeah, go abroad. It's it can be great. And with that, I think I'm going to end this video. I really want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you liked this video, please press the like button. If you have a comment, drop one below. And finally, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, subscribe. All right, till next time, take it easy.